Salutations, everybody. I've tried to make this intro for a long time. I genuinely don't know what I wanted to say, but I'm just gonna ramble for this take. Anyway, if you've seen any of my Lost Records gameplay videos, and by the way, if you haven't, I'll put the card above for it, or I'll put the playlist in the description. You'll see that I bring up Life is Strange a lot because obviously they're made by the same creators. Drew a lot of connections from that game to this game. Talked about it a lot while I was playing Lost Records, and I wanted to establish my Life is Strange knowledge because I've been a fan of the game for a very long time, and it's one of those games that really changed the trajectory of my life for better or for worse. It's one of those games that also resonates with a lot of people. The story and the characters and just everything about it kind of just sticks with you throughout your whole life. I know a lot of people who are still big fans of the game, even though like it came out 10 years ago, by the way. What the fuck? It's also one of those games where you notice certain details after you do like a replay or another replay, and that's really what makes it so fun to replay the game is you can see you can see different outcomes through what you originally chose, and you can notice certain details and foreshadowing and all that kind of stuff. And to me, that is so fun, and one of the best parts of the game is how much you can notice after you play it for the first time. And you know, with the new game coming out, the reunion game, which I'm considering playing on the channel, maybe, you know, the new live action show, what the fuck, I thought it would be like, you know, a decent time to kind of get back into Life is Strange. And I've always had the idea for this video, and I've always wanted to analyze Life is Strange in my own perspective, but I wanted to kind of do it in a unique way to me. So I thought, you know, music, and I started thinking of the soundtrack and the lyrics and the messages of certain songs that play in certain cutscenes and with certain characters. And I thought to myself that maybe there is more to it than, you know, a song that just happens to go with the scene. And so, you know, I wrote down my own thoughts and drafted the script for this video, and I realized there's actually so much more that so many more conclusions that we could draw and connections that we could make with the songs to the characters and to certain story arcs, whatever. And so I wanted to just compile everything, all of my thoughts, all of my interpretations into this video and kind of analyze it so we could, you know, discuss it and talk about it. If you also share a certain thought, or maybe you were thinking this and you're like, oh my god, thank you so much. My point is, I just wanted to get back into my Life is Strange roots and also my analysis roots. And yeah, that's basically what this video is about. Before I formally start, I just want to say a spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the game, or if you haven't played the game, stop. Do your research. Watch a playthrough. I don't have one personally. I wanted to do a playthrough on my channel, but I already know so much about it that I don't think it would be interesting if I did like recording playthrough. But there's so many they can watch. Personally, I love Cub Scouts playthrough. I rewatch his all the time. It's really comforting to me. But anyway, get to know the story first so that you can really appreciate all of the details and all of the things that I'll be pointing out in this video. And also, another disclaimer, I promise you, I really tried to analyze these songs to the best of my abilities, but some of them I genuinely struggled to draw any kind of connection to. Some analyses will be shorter. That's why I decided to make it every single song, so it could be just like one video instead of like one song, one video, you know. I feel like it could be better. And yeah, you know, aside from that, just sit back and relax, enjoy. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you want to see more stuff like this and you enjoy this video, I really appreciate it if you subscribe. Thank you. I'm coming up with a lot of fun stuff on the channel, so look forward to it. How do I segue into Yes, I wiped down the mirror mid-tape. I'm so sorry if that pissed you off in the beginning, but it's kind of... Hold on. Is that better? Anyway. On to the analysis part. Oh, that looks a little bit... Okay, whatever. You know, I'm just gonna ignore it and just focus on the analysis. Okay, track 1. Track 1 is To All of You by Sid Matters, and it plays while Max walks through the halls making her way to the bathroom. And we as a player get to see a little glimpse of Blackwell Academy in the hallway. We see students interacting, talking in the background, chitter chatter. We don't really get to hear what they're saying, most of what they're saying, I mean. And we also get to learn what Max thinks of these characters, who she likes, who she hates, blah 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 blah. So yeah, we just kind of get to slow down and enjoy a little bit of the world of Blackwell Academy. To me, one of my favorite environments of the game, even if the school doesn't really have the best environment in terms of like the students, because there's a lot of toxicity there, like with the Vortex Club and the popular kids. But the campus, to me, so beautiful. Genuinely one of my dreams. I would love to go there, even though they probably hate my ass low-key, if you push aside Jefferson being weird. Anyway, it's our way as a player to get to know the game's environment that we will be, playing in for the next 5 episodes. And we also get to look around a little bit and look at the posters on the wall. And a certain poster might catch our eye, and it is a missing persons poster for a one Rachel Amber. On to the song itself. The song itself is about the idealized archetypal American girl. It's a sort of dedication to these women, with the title literally being, to all of you. And how the singer even says, I wish I had an American girlfriend. It talks about the desired perfect American girl, and it almost talks about her like a product rather than a person. Often these women can be seen as status symbols rather than like actual people with emotions and thoughts and passion and things that they're passionate about. So it's basically kind of criticizing how American women are portrayed in media, because this can also be the expectation for everybody else. Like, they're portrayed as like perfect, and they have flawless figures, and they're always beautiful, and how that can be unrealistic for certain girls who don't really fit into that category, like me. I definitely don't fit into that category, but it becomes an expectation for women in a way too. Women can also feel a lot of pressure from that as well. That's how I interpret it, honestly. Especially when we're always being shown these women in media and stuff, and you're always, and like, especially me as a little girl, I was always like, damn, I'll never look like that. But even after kind of getting everything, they still have their complaints, which is one of the lines in the song. Typically, this is the girl that has everything that she wants. She's typically well off, and she's beautiful. She basically has everything they could ever possibly want. But she still is very unhappy. We as a viewer are like, what could she possibly be complaining about? But only because they're portrayed that way that you don't really get to see them beyond the surface. They may seem perfect, but they're actually not perfect at all, and it's kind of impossible to live up to that standard that we see in the movies, because it's not real. Movies, shows, they're all pretend, but it's still being pushed on to women everywhere. The song basically discusses that topic, essentially. How this specific message ties into Life is Strange is the person that we see a missing poster of, which is Rachel Amber. First of all, it's the song that plays when we first discover this poster, so I think that's the first connection, the first very obvious connection. But it's also because she definitely fits that stereotypical perfect American girl. She's popular, everybody loves her, she's smart, she's beautiful, she's talented, she's pretty well off because her father is the district attorney. So she's basically the epitome of the American dream. She's the girl that everybody either loves or hates, with little to no in between. Victoria. And we as Max, we never really officially get to meet her in Life is Strange. We can only kind of gather knowledge from what all of the other students have to say about her. And some of them kind of don't coincide in a way, because she seems so innocent and sweet at first from what you hear, but then you talk to other people and then it's like, oh, she's a party animal, she did this and she did that. The way she's perceived kind of changes, but it's never really who she actually is, if that makes sense. It's this exact thing that really distorts Rachel and Max's eyes, because most of the things people say about her are really inconsistent. It's either she's a sweet innocent angel, or she's this party animal who sleeps around. She's never really perceived as who she actually is, and we can really see that in her character. It's almost like she's putting up an act. I mean, she literally does theater. She's stuck in this version of herself that other people expect of her. She's basically always playing a role, and she acknowledges this in a way, because she does say she's good with people. So in a way, she kind of makes herself into whatever the person that she's talking to wants her to be. And in the process of all that, she kind of loses herself. And that's also reflected in how everybody talks about her during Life is Strange to Max. We don't really get to have our own opinion on her, since we've never officially met her. All we can gather is other people's experiences with her, and those are going to be all different. So Rachel Amber, her presence is so loud in the halls of Blackwell Academy. I mean, she is missing, which kind of haunts the school a little bit, because we have no idea what the hell happened to her at this point of the game. Not just Blackwell Academy, actually Arcadia Bay as a whole. When we meet Chloe, we get to see Rachel outside of just Blackwell Academy, what she's done, who she's met, blah blah blah. And basically the whole entire game, since the goal or one of the goals that we have is to figure out what the hell happened to Rachel. We have this strong desire to figure out who she really is, just like how the song talks about, like, I wish I had an American girlfriend. It's kind of like, I wish I could understand you beyond what the surface is, and that's exactly what Max herself is trying to do. It's like we're just part of the audience watching Rachel on stage. We only get to see her as this act. We never really get to see her off stage in that sense. And in that same vein of always being on stage and acting is typically associated with like Hollywood, which is what the song references when it talks about plastic bodies. And Rachel herself is from California, which the soundtrack also references in another song, Santa Monica Dream, which I will be discussing more about later. The way she's talked about and portrayed by the students, how everything kind of doesn't align, it's almost like she is an actual celebrity. She's this shiny person that everybody loves to talk about, yet no one really knows anything about, like, truly, except certain people. And to me, this song's a really good introduction to the mystery behind Rachel's character. It's kind of the game's small little like foreshadowing of Rachel and what her character is all about. It really adds to that mystery of her. Track 2, Crosses by Jose Gonzalez. So the song plays when Max takes the bus to go to the Two Wheels Diner to meet up with Chloe in episode 2. Now the song itself talks about depression and how the light will show up eventually despite how heavy everything feels. This description to me fits a certain character very well, and it's of course the person that we talked to before we go to the diner about whether or not she should go to the cops with her terrible experience with Nathan Prescott. And of course it is the one and only Kate Marsh. So the first kind of obvious connection to Kate was the title, Crosses. A bit on the nose, yeah. She is the religious Christian girl. So anyway, what happens to Kate is the event that sets off that fire in Max to figure out just what the hell is going on at Blackwell Academy. Like she eventually starts to think that what happened to Kate has to have some kind of connection to Rachel, right? So Kate's attempt or actual suicide, depending on what route depending on how it turned out for you. For me, in my playthrough, she stayed alive. Especially after she opens up about being drugged and filmed without her consent, which is just fucking disgusting. To then have that video uploaded to the internet for her classmates and random ass strangers to see. So in the context of the song, Crosses means the burdens or the struggles that one is carrying, and Kate definitely has a lot on those shoulders right now. So in this episode, we see Kate's derailment go further and further. This is the episode where her infamous Vortex Club video gets uploaded onto the internet by Victoria, and everybody has so much to say about it. The guys, the girls especially. I wanna call them out for that because that's really fucked up. And I get it. It just seems like stupid high school drama, but like to me it's really fucked up that they all watched that video and decided to label Kate as the one at fault. I kind of understand that it doesn't seem that serious at the time. It's just like, I don't like how it took Kate having to go up on that roof just for them to realize that situation was completely fucked up and not because of what Kate did. She was literally drugged in that video, and I feel like the girls need to be called out for not being like more critical of that video and not like being like, what the fuck? Because their immediate reaction to it, oh, she's actually such a slut. Her being this like good girl is just an image that she puts up. This is who she actually is, and I really don't like that personally. But it's just to me it's just fucked up, and it's a testament to how terrible the culture is, especially among women and on campus. Like I feel like Juliet locking Dana in her dorm room was also a testament of the bad culture around with women especially. So it's just like, to me it's just really fucked up, and it really makes you understand why Kate went up on that roof. I cannot even imagine being her in that scenario. So in this episode we meet Kate in the bathroom, and we can see that she's been crying, and then after we go take a shower, Victoria comes in with her biatches and makes fun of Kate for the video, which is really, really fucked up. And after that we give her the book that she wants by Bradbury, and we get to see the state of her room and the state of herself. Like, she covers up the mirror, and it's really dark in her room and depressing. She stopped playing violin, which is one of her passions and stuff. Basically just telltale signs of her being very depressed. Very understandable because she's just been through so much. And her family and her mom is kind of turning on her too, and her aunt's it's just awful. Anyway, she's just going through a lot, and we see her mental state get worse and worse, and unfortunately she was just driven to the point where she just could not take any of it anymore, and basically nobody was helping her, which is just extra fucked up. So the song itself does aim to comfort the one with these burdens, which is what Max herself is also trying to do. Depending on how you play her, of course, she can be more or less so, but she does have a good heart and genuinely does care about Kate's well-being. And the last lines of the song are definitely pertaining to Kate after she attempts or actually commits suicide, especially the line repeatedly reminded by the looks on their faces. After Kate's attempt or her actual suicide, the rest of the students are understandably very upset and devastated, even the ones you think might not be. And the song is basically saying to cast some light and things will be better, which is what Max herself was trying to do as she tries to get justice for what happened to Kate. And the singer is trying to kind of offer comfort to this person who is going through all these things. And to me, that singer is Max's kind of message to Kate, saying that I will try to fix your situation. I will try to help you out with the new power that she has. She doesn't actually say that, but she definitely uses her power to try and get justice for Kate. In that way, Max is kind of Kate's light. In that scenario, she's the light at the end of Kate's very, very dark tunnel. And to me, that's just really beautiful and a really good usage of the song. Track 3 is Santa Monica Dream by Angus and Julia Stone. So this song plays on Chloe's hi-fis, one of her CDs, when we as Max, we reunite with Chloe and we get to explore her room after all these years. And the song itself is about saying goodbye to their Santa Monica dream. In other words, saying goodbye to what could have been in a failed relationship. It's very sad and bittersweet, as you know, the vocals themselves are so like melancholic and so angelic and beautiful, but it's so sad, you know, because they are saying goodbye to the future they could have had together with this person. And it's all about being so in love that you start to fantasize about your future with this person, all for it to not work out the way you imagined. And now you're in this state of mourning or saying goodbye to what could have happened if things had been better. Now, for the viewers at home, this song is fitting for one Chloe Price, as she herself is in the state of mourning what could have been with Rachel had she not gone missing. Now, actually, at this point of the game, we don't actually see or know about Chloe and Rachel's connection, because that part happens after this little song, but it's a nice little nod to that in a way. I'm noticing a lot with this music choices, it really gives a lot of foreshadowing into what's about to happen. But once you replay it and you actually like listen to the song, you're like, wait, that actually connects, and that's exactly what I felt. Anyway, so the first obvious tell is the fact that it's called Santa Monica Dream, which is a city located in California where Rachel is originally from and where they both plan to run away together. And she's specifically saying goodbye to that because she can't really have that anymore now that Rachel is still missing. So these specific lyrics allude to the mystery of what happened to Rachel. You're somewhere, indicating that obviously somewhere Rachel is somewhere out there, but Chloe has no idea where it is anymore. And the fact that I'm somewhere and you're somewhere, those two are different. Those two people are separate in the lyrics. I'm somewhere, you're somewhere. Like, they're not together anymore, which is exactly what it is with Chloe and Rachel. And to me, this song is a really perfect way to introduce Chloe's mourning and her sadness and just that grief that she feels, and the heartbreaking vocals perfectly just encapsulate how Chloe is feeling in this current state of her life. Like, all of the hope that she had of running away and actually being happy had just been taken away from her, and that there would be no point in still going. Like, once we as Max meet Chloe, she's very clearly depressed and not doing well. It's just really sad. You can very much tell that her mental state is just not good. I mean, I understand why. She's been through so much before this, and she's lost somebody again. Like, I would be in that state too, personally. And it's almost like she's on her own plane of time. Like, she isn't moving anymore. She isn't living life anymore. She's just hoping that some kind of miracle happens that reunites her with Rachel one day. So the song itself, it also has little hints of wanting to see or find out like what could have been, seen in the lines, I could go there but I don't, and I could call you on the telephone but do I really want to know, but never actually doing it. So basically, in other words, there's that sense of wondering, you know, I could find out how you are now but I don't do it because I really want that. Like I could, but you know, I feel like that feeling resonates with a lot of people, which to me also has a connection to how Chloe really does want to find out what happened to Rachel, but is so scared that what happened to her would end up being her worst fear, which is her dying, that she doesn't actually investigate. Because beyond putting up the missing person posters, Chloe hasn't made any actual progress in trying to find Rachel. And while there are certainly more reasons as to why there is than just not really wanting to me it is a possibility that seeing Rachel is missing could be more comforting than thinking of the worst and like thinking that she's dead, even though everybody around her, like Joyce and Max, even everybody's saying that, you know, there is a really big possibility that she is not making it. Even like from the gameplays I've seen, people are always like, yeah, there's a really high chance that she just isn't with us anymore, which is really sad. And I think Chloe's way of avoiding these feelings is first of all denying them, because she always denies it every single time anyone around her brings out the possibility of Rachel not being alive anymore.
These are all post shots, right? Maybe Nathan paid her a shitload of cash to do this. She probably would have. There's no way she's dead. No way. She posed for those pictures, Max. I know it. Please, let's go.
And second of all, just kind of thinking of her as missing rather than thinking of her as literally like gone from the world, because when somebody's missing, you don't really know if they're alive or dead. It's that uncertainty, because it's still like a very small possibility that she could still be alive. I guess to Chloe, it's a lot better to think of her as possibly being alive than almost certainly being dead, so she just kind of avoids those feelings. To me, that's what the song means, and it's a good way to introduce Chloe and Rachel's relationship before we actually find out more about their relationship. And it's a really good usage of the song. It's a really heartbreaking and a really good song, and I've fallen asleep to it a lot. It's beautiful. Track 4, Piano Fire by Sparkle Horse and PJ Harvey. So remember in the beginning that I said that I am not sure if every single song will have just this amazing connection to the story. This is one of those songs because I personally really stretched out this analysis, but it's not too far off. I don't know, you let me know what you think, but I really tried to draw a connection to the story with this one, because to me, before like doing the research for this video, I just kind of thought it was just like a really good song to dance to, because this song plays when Chloe's like, let's go stage diving, and Chloe and Max dance together, right? And I never really saw a connection to the game story beyond, oh, this is a really good song to dance to, let's rock Shaka Bra. That's really all I thought about the song originally before doing the research. But then I looked into the lyrics and I looked at the meaning, and I was like, okay, there is some connection that I can draw to the game. And in the spirit of this whole video, I feel like I at least should try to make some kind of connection. So this is what I think personally. Random tangent, you can skip if you don't want to hear about this, but I fall asleep to Life is Strange soundtrack a lot. Like the first 3 songs are really good to fall asleep to, but then you're like about to fall asleep, and then it's on to track 4, and it's like dun. I've been jump scared awake so many times by that song playing while I'm literally about to fall asleep. Anyway, alright, so one of the lyrics is, so this lyric suggests that the singer is hoping for something good to happen, which are the jets landing, you know, and how getting sunburnt is the suffering endured waiting for it to happen. To me, the song is a perfect description of what Chloe is going through. She's definitely gone through her fair share of suffering and is now waiting for something or someone to save her, the jets. She's waiting for the jets to land, or in other words, she's just really hoping that something or someone can just save her and just get her out of this hole that she's just digging, that she's just falling further and further into. Just any semblance of hope to appear, and that hope is here now because Max is here and she's that hope. And the fact that these 2 songs play when Max returns to Chloe's room after years of not seeing each other is to me a really good choice from Don't Nod. Both of them do a really good job of reintroducing Max to Chloe and showing her current mental state now, mourning her loss of Rachel and that feeling of just kind of being alive rather than actually living her life, because she didn't really have much purpose to live anymore. Like she kind of lost her interest in everything as when she lost her father and when she lost Max, and again when she loses Rachel, which is really, really sad. Okay, the first song that plays in Chloe's room is about her and Rachel, and the second song that plays is about how she's just kind of plowing through life in a way. She isn't actually, like, there's not really much of a goal that she has. She's just trying to get through every single day now because she doesn't really see the point anymore. As the singer sings "How Do You Feel," it's like a nagging question being asked to Chloe herself, especially with how it's sung, like, "How do you feel?" It's prolonged and it's emphasized, like Chloe will never be able to avoid the real sadness that she feels. And the line, "I can't seem to see through," okay, "I can't seem to see through solid marble eyes," could be about how Chloe is now emotionally or psychologically closed off after everything that happened to her, which she is. When Max and Chloe first meet, she's like, her first emotion is, well, she does say Max, but then she immediately goes back to being like, "Why don't you contact me again?" Which is understandable, by the way. They're best friends. I would be pissed too. But like, she's obviously still like very closed off to any kind of love now, any kind of happiness, because she just is scared that it's gonna get taken away from her. Just like how marble is cold, hard, and lifeless, she kind of feels like that now. And in the final chorus of the song, the line, "I can't seem to breathe through a rusted metal heart," is added to that previous chorus. And the heart being rusted means that a lot of time, to me, it means that a lot of time has passed since this person has felt loved. I don't know, I honestly don't know if it's like a solid interpretation of it, but that's what I think, because it is a heart, and normal hearts are not metal. But obviously rusting means that time has passed by. And since it's a heart, I thought, a heart will only beat if you're being loved, I guess, in like the metaphorical sense, right? And I think this interpretation can apply to Chloe and how she's become this damaged shell of herself. She just doesn't really feel like she can stomach loving somebody anymore because of what happened to her, and how it's been so long since she's actually felt like herself and she's felt genuine happiness and joy, obviously before Max comes into her life. And yeah, I think the song is just like one of those songs where it's like, yeah, stand through the pain. Because like I said, I never looked into it beyond just a nice song to jam to. But then now that I read the lyrics and like read the interpretations on the Genius page, I was like, this actually does like connect to Chloe a lot more than I thought it would. So I thought I'd share that. We're on to the next song. I hope the interpretation made sense, but Track 5 is Something Good by Alt J, personally one of my favorites. The song plays during the beginning scene, or the opening scene of episode 2, where Max is just lying in bed after reuniting with Chloe last episode. So it is the first song that plays during episode 2. And so according to Alt J themselves, the song is about Something Good is a song that documents the death of a matador. This gruesome event acts as an analogy for the slow mending of a broken heart through fun distractions. The death of the matador represents the end of the crush. With the lyrics talking about how distractions or something good will help the narrator of the song forget about a certain painful or tragic event for now, temporarily, even though in the end it'll still end up hurting them, because that's kind of how feelings work. The song is yet another song that pertains to Chloe, in my opinion, and how she seeks temporary relief from her own pain from certain coping mechanisms like drugs. I think the specific pain that she's trying to avoid would be the reality of what happened to Rachel. So if it isn't obvious by Chloe's character as a whole, or how she is when we first meet her, she still hasn't fully moved on from the tragedies in her life, and I personally do not blame her for not being able to. I'm going to take a little detour and talk about how people interpret Chloe for a second, because she goes through a lot, and I feel like we really forget that in a way. Everybody's so quick to dog on her, and I get it. She did do some things that aren't really the best, and like especially like making us ignore Kate's phone call, but she does apologize after that. She just had no idea that Kate went through that, and after she is apologetic. I just feel like we don't understand Chloe good enough, and I see so many people say like, oh, Chloe's, and like, okay, cool, like you don't have to like Chloe, but people just don't really interpret her properly. I think like they don't really understand her well enough for me to care, like well enough for that opinion to make sense, you know what I mean? Like I said, don't have to like her, but it's just like it's just really weird when you can mischaracterize someone so badly, but then sympathize with characters like Nathan Prescott. That's just what I think. But anyway, yeah. So she lost her father, and her best friend moved away, which is already awful. And her best friend Max didn't stay in touch with her at all. So Chloe already lost her father and her best friend in the point of her life where Max wasn't there. She was in Seattle. And she also slowly started to feel disconnected from her mom because she started dating David, and she kind of started to choose David over her daughter, which is just terrible momming, honestly. And she finally finds some kind of hope and happiness when she meets Rachel, only for her to be taken away from her. Not to mention whatever the hell Nathan did to her that first episode when she meets Nathan in the bathroom. She's in this cycle of constantly losing the ones that she loves, and while she's a very tough and rebellious person on the outside, and she's very fearless, you can tell that she has a really big heart and a massive soft side for the people that she really does care about, like Max and Rachel. And losing them really does a number on her. In these lyrics, the narrator connects the death of a matador to their heartbreak and sadness, with the bull representing the lost memories and the matador being the narrator, as the matador actively tries to fight the memories away, or the memories of the bull. Only when the matador gets hit by the bull are they able to fully understand and accept their feelings properly, showing that no matter how hard you fight or no matter what distractions there may be, your feelings will always catch up to you. The same can be said for Chloe herself, that no matter how much she denies the possibility of Rachel being dead, it is still a possibility. She's been missing for months with no signs of contact, no one spotting her, and usually that means the worst fate imaginable, which really is heartbreaking, but is unfortunately the reality of it. Everyone else around her is more open to that possibility, like Joyce and Max. Well, Chloe just kind of sticks her fingers in her ears and it's like, no, la la la, and denies it for as long as she can, and like she kind of just avoids these feelings of, which I completely understand. With the amount of loss that she's dealt with, like avoidance is definitely her coping mechanism in this sense. I mean, her drug use is already like a big indication of that, because what are drugs if not just a way to numb the pain, you know? It's definitely really, really heartbreaking when you think about it. A lot of these songs pertain to Chloe's mental state, and it's all really, really, really sad, honestly. Track 6 is Mount Washington by local natives, and this one is the final track for the songs in episode 2 and fittingly plays during the ending scene of that respective episode, where the characters Max, Warren, Victoria, Nathan, Chloe, Kate, and Frank all watch the eclipse in different places. So the lyrics themselves discuss similar themes to the previous song, as the narrator sings, "I don't have to see you right now," showing a sense of active avoidance or denial of someone or something. Now, since the song plays at the end of episode 2, the same episode where Kate commits or attempts suicide, depending on what happened in your playthrough, I initially interpreted it as the students' denial in the part that they played in Kate's suicide or suicide attempt. The most obvious example of this would be Victoria, who we see crying in her room. Then Nathan shows up to cheer her up, I guess. We know Victoria genuinely feels guilt and remorse for the part that she played in Kate's fate. You know, she uploaded the video and she kept bullying her in class and everything about the video and stuff. From the letter that she wrote Kate, if she stayed alive, and her dedication to her when she won the Everyday Heroes contest, we can see that she really does feel remorse for what she did. And it's one of the times that we see her actually be human, because beyond this, she's just this archetypal mean rich girl who just doesn't care about anybody except herself. And another way that I interpreted it is applying it to Max and how she actively avoided telling Chloe that she was back in Arcadia Bay to avoid her own feelings of guilt and shame. Definitely not what a good friend would be doing, but I also kind of get where she's coming from. The way she left was pretty brutal. We can see it in the bonus episode of Life is Strange Before the Storm. And it didn't help that she was terrible at keeping contact with Chloe when she was in Seattle. The line, "I don't have to see you right now," is the line that perfectly describes this feeling for Max. Like, she doesn't have to see Chloe right now, in the sense that she doesn't have any actual obligation to see her or tell her that she's there. So she pushes telling Chloe that she's back in the back of her mind, so those negative feelings don't come back. And of course, the strategy is not effective at all, because Chloe crash lands back into her life, and Max is forced to confront the very feelings that she was trying to avoid. And even though their reunion started off rocky, with Chloe expressing how understandably hurt she felt just finding out that her best friend hadn't told her she was back, Max is apologetic, and she does try to make it up to her, but as best as she can. Obviously, it depends on how you play her, and she really wants to prove that she wants to be a better friend. But Chloe does forgive her pretty quickly though, so overall, the song has consistent themes of denial and avoiding terrible feelings is present in these two interpretations, and I think I think both of them do kind of make sense in a way. It also coincides with the previous track being also about these same feelings. Track 7 is Lua by Bright Eyes, and the song plays in Chloe's room during episode 3 after they break into Blackwell after their little sleepover. And the song is another one that has a connection to Rachel and Chloe's relationship, as it talks about two unhappy people trying to cope with their own negative or depression together, which within the song's context is about drug and alcohol usage, which they do use, but to me it isn't really the main thing that they're using to cope. Just walk with me here, okay? So this line pertains to Chloe's own hidden feelings of unhappiness, unbeknownst to the people around her, like the students around her, except for Chloe. How Rachel feels that need to escape Arcadia Bay so she can finally feel better and feel more fulfilled. Her and Chloe share the same feeling. Chloe obviously has different reasons why, but this is what brings them closer together. This is their this is what kind of cements their bond, you know? The "I can feel it when we kiss" line emphasizes how only Chloe is the one who knows how Rachel truly feels, because they have this intimate bond and they kiss each other and stuff like that. They're gay, basically. Because of their gay-ass relationship, Chloe gets to understand Rachel beyond what everybody expects of her, basically. Because, Rachel's character is really interesting because she's basically expectations. She's like the embodiment of everybody's expectations, and she kind of forgets the real person that she actually is gets overshadowed by everybody else's expectations of her, which the song kind of does allude to in a way. So these next lyrics represent the point of Chloe and Rachel's relationship, where they start making promises of running away together, which is a promise that they literally made underneath the moonlight when everything was much less complicated. But when the sun rises, or the next day, things prove to be much more complicated than "I want to run away, let's go together," So the line "so simple in the moonlight" captures the innocence of their promise, how it's simple and therefore doesn't sound like a big deal, because it's kind of like an in the moment kind of decision, because you're just making plans in your head. It's so much easier to imagine things than to actually carry them out, which is exactly the case in the song. When you're actually trying to do stuff, it's a different story. And I think it's very clear that these two are using each other to cope with their own feelings. Chloe sees Rachel as this perfect angel who saved her life and is therefore devastated when she finds out about Rachel and Frank. And Rachel sees Chloe as someone who finally understands her and sees her for who she really is fully. And I really do mean fully, because she did burn down an entire forest in front of her and Chloe's still stuck by her side. Girl is loyal. The idea that they'll run away together is the light at the end of the tunnel for both of them, and that's what made their bond so strong, and it really cemented their bond together. And the song itself has very depressive overtones, if you couldn't tell from the slow instrumental and the vocals and the lyrics. It really fits the atmosphere of Chloe and Rachel's relationship, because them at their core is just two really unhappy people trying to use each other to feel better, basically. I'm not trying to say use in a manipulative sense. That interpretation may vary. What I mean is they're kind of using their newfound connection as a way to feel better, I guess. Use kind of has a really negative connotation to it, but what I mean is their relationship is what makes them feel better, and they're kind of, the more time they spend together, the better they feel, and they kind of taking advantage of. I don't know. I hope my explanation made sense. But the point is, it's just two unhappy people trying to cope. They're both very depressed people, and they just found each other, and that's basically it. That's how I see it personally. Track 8 is Kids to Be Skeletons by Mbogwai, and this is the first song that doesn't have any actual lyrics in it, as it is an instrumental song. But I still think it holds relevance to my points. Since I can't analyze any lyrics, first of all, the instrumental, beautiful, and it fits very well the scene that it's in, like all of the songs do. It's the song that plays after Max messes around with the timeline and makes it so that Chloe's dad actually lives instead of dies in the terrible car accident that happens to him. And this is after we go back to the present as Max, and everything has changed. And the song, the instrumental itself, really pulls us into how Max feels at that moment. She's confused. She's wondering what the hell happened to Chloe, etc., etc. And then as soon as the song kind of climaxes or hits that peak, that's when we see that Chloe's actually paralyzed and went into an accident herself, which Max is terrified of, and she feels extremely guilty because she did kind of do it. She did kind of have a hand in that happening. Since I can't really analyze any actual lyrics, I just looked at the title, which is Kids Will Be Skeletons. I think it really fits that part of that episode because, you know, we do see them as kids. First of all, like the literal interpretation is the kids, Chloe and Max, will become skeletons or they will die eventually, right? That can be applied to Chloe herself because we see her as a kid and then we see her paralyzed and basically dying because of her illness, and aka she will turn into a skeleton. The song is basically saying kids will just end up dying, which is what happens to Chloe. This is a really fucked up one for one without any lyrics, but that's just how I see it personally, since we only have a title to go off of, but it's still a really interesting thing to think about. Track 9 is In My Mind by Amanda Palmer. So this song plays after Max fixes the timeline and makes it so that Chloe's dad dies again. Really fucked up. This game is really fucked up. It plays after we go back to the present and we're with Chloe again, with Chloe not being paralyzed, and she's just investigating what happened with Rachel and everything. Basically, everything goes back to normal, right? And the song itself talks about wanting to become this new and improved version of yourself in a way that is almost unrealistic, that we're just like chasing perfection but not actually improving, you know, because there is no problem with wanting to improve yourself, but not in a way that it kind of makes you lose yourself. So the lyrics that I don't want to be the person that I want to be shows that after all that time chasing perfection, the narrator realizes that they don't really want to be this perfect version of themselves that they're envisioning, which is, I think, a universal experience for everybody. You know, we want to be so many things, but then we kind of lose sight of who we actually want to be, which also can kind of be connected to Rachel, now that I'm like thinking about it. But anyway, sometimes you just get so caught up in something that you realize that it's really just not what you want at all. Because while there's obviously, like I said earlier, nothing wrong with wanting to improve yourself, it shouldn't be to the point where you lose who you really are. How this relates to Life is Strange is if we take that core idea of not changing things and apply it to what Max did to the timelines. So in the context of Max, she learns that she shouldn't have gone back and changed the past because of the unintended consequences that it led to, and to accept this timeline despite its faults. The same idea of perfection found in the song can also be applied here, as Max knows that in a perfect world, Chloe's father would still be alive. But in the process of trying to give that to Chloe, Max unintentionally risks Chloe's life instead. The decision she inevitably made was the obvious one, but it's also a very painful one at that. One that definitely left a mark on her psyche, as seen in her nightmare sequence from episode 5, where she's in the snow globe watching Chloe's dad about to die. She's just stuck there, unable to do anything, which is exactly how she felt when she deliberately chose not to do anything about William dying just so she could save Chloe. That guilt kind of still follows her and everything, which I feel really bad for. It's a terrible decision that no one should ever make, and one that Max can barely shoulder herself. But in the end, she learns to accept this timeline and swears not to go back in time this way again. For now. Track 10, aka one of the most traumatic ones, is Mountains by Message to Bears, because it is the song that plays when we eventually figure out Rachel's fate, or what actually happened to her in the junkyard. Spoiler alert, I did say spoiler earlier, but she's dead. We find her buried in the junkyard, and the song plays while they're running to the junkyard and digging her up, and then we see what actually happened to her. It's a really fucked up scene that I think it still kind of haunts me to this day, and I know a lot of players feel the same. It's one of those scenes where you're just like dead silent. You're just sitting there kind of soaking in what just happened and not really being able to process any of it. Like in the back of your mind, you probably thought that she was dead, but finding out that it happened in that way is so fucked up, and the game is really fucked up, which I keep mentioning. If you couldn't tell from the way these songs are interpreted, then it's a really fucked up game. The song itself tells the story of two mountains wanting to run away together. So in the case of the song, there are only 4 lines, and they repeat themselves, which to me shows that the mountains are desperate to leave. They're just repeating it, hoping over and over again that it'll happen. They're just desperate to leave, but unfortunately not being able to in the end, because they are mountains. Mountains can't move, unfortunately. This is another one that relates to Rachel and Chloe's relationship, one that really stings specifically when you know the scene that it plays in. Obviously, the mountains in this context are Chloe and Rachel, with their plans to leave Arcadia Bay and have their future together in California. but we as the audience know that the mountains can't leave where they're from no matter how much they try. And since we now know that Rachel's soul is basically stuck in Arcadia Bay, with Chloe's soul also having the possibility of staying here if she dies because of Nathan, the mountain's fates are basically just sealed. No matter what they do, they're stuck where they are because they're mountains. They can't move. This song choice broke me, honestly, when I read through the meaning of it, and I was like, oh my god, that's diabolical. And while it is my favorite instance of the soundtrack being actual genius, it also is one of those songs which really hits you straight in the heart. And the scene itself is just really heartbreaking. As I said earlier, I think all the players kind of thought that Rachel was dead. It's really one of those things that you consider as a possibility. And even if we do I feel like everybody also had that little bit of hope. Even if it is misplaced, it just gets shattered to the ground. And before that, we discovered that Rachel wasn't the only victim in Jefferson's sick, disgusting crimes. Adding this to the end of the episode was salt to the wound. And I have to give props to Ashley Birch for this amazing performance. When she started crying, I really did feel that, and she felt it too. I hear that she had a personal connection to her own loss, and she put those emotions into this performance. And I just feel like we all need to appreciate it a lot, and that scene is definitely one that just stays stuck with you after everything that happened. And it really is the turning point of the game, where you no longer think it's just this innocent game where Max can rewind time, and there's actually so much more to it than we realize. Track 11 is Got Well Soon by Breton, and it plays during the End of the World party hosted by the Vortex Club. Max and Chloe attend because they're trying to look for Nathan, who they think is the perpetrator of these crimes, which you're not exactly wrong, but the only reason that they're there is to find Nathan. They don't end up finding him because he's dead. For this one, again, I really kind of struggle to draw a connection to the game story, but there are certain lines that I think could be drawn to it in a way, if that makes sense. The first line, has anything like this ever struck you? If ever a likeness had you screaming for pockets of air. I think that's it's kind of asking the question to the people at the party. What is it? They're just kind of, the theme of the party is end of the world. We're gonna party like it's the end of the world. So they're kind of just leaving all of their misfortune and their sadness behind. And this does happen after Kate, commits or attempts to commit suicide. I guess they're just trying to forget the pain kind of situation, and the fact that the party does happen at the end of the world, aka the storm that's about to hit, and the two moons thing, perfect timing from the game. But I guess it's a contemplative question, have you ever been through any kind of struggle? Have you ever had a time in your life where you've had to fight for scraps and kind of just sacrifice things to get what you want? I don't know, that's what I think. I'm sorry that this one's a lot more flimsy than the rest of my points, but I tried, okay? Please let me know if you have your own interpretations. I would genuinely love to hear them, but this is what I think, okay? The line, whatever you like when you came in, whatever you use, whatever you choose, whatever your acronym. So it basically says that misfortune or sadness will happen to anybody, no matter if you're good, if you're bad, it just kind of happens to you. And I guess in the context of the game, and in the context of the party, it's we're gonna have some misfortunes, but we're gonna party like it's the end of the fucking world. So another line is, they say that either you're out or you're in on your own. So I think it can kind of pertain to the Vortex Club, either you're out of the Vortex Club or you're part of us. Either way, it's all about celebrating, even if everything's fucked up, which fits the theme of the End of the World party. If you're part of this group, aka the Vortex Club, you have people, but then you're still actually alone, because the Vortex Club don't really like each other, you know what I mean? They're just there to party and do drugs. But what I'm trying to say is have people that you can just go to when you're feeling lonely, but it doesn't really erase the actual feeling of loneliness. You're just kind of pretending. I don't know, that's what I think. This one's the shortest. This is not the shortest one, but this is definitely the flimsiest argument I've had. But this is my attempt to connect it to the game. Track 12 is The Sense of Me by Mudflow, and it is another one without any lyrics. Well, it does have lyrics, but there's only like 2 lines. And it plays after Max finally escapes the dark room and is driving to the storm to try to get the photo from Warren so she can bring back Chloe, because Chloe unfortunately dies and she's trying to save her again. Yeah. Personally, this is one of my favorite songs of the soundtrack. I like to listen to it whenever I'm in a car ride at night. It's just so good. Honestly, try it if you haven't. But like, you really feel like Max minus the imminent death, you know. It plays while we hear Nathan's apology on his voicemail apology to Max, and he takes responsibility for everything that happened. He really? Not really, but he then tries to warn Max that you're next because Jefferson's coming for you, which is a bit too late for that, isn't it? So since there's only like 2 lines in this song, I think the lyrics are just pertaining to how Max just saves Chloe over and over again, but try again, which is just her saving Chloe over and over again. In this point of the story, she is also saving Chloe again. And, you know, at this point in the story, she's done a lot to save Chloe with her powers, because Chloe dies, or almost dies, so much in this game. To hear yourself again from time to time could kind of be like, stop for a moment, girl, you need to think about how you feel, because Max doesn't really get the opportunity to actually sit with her feelings. And I think that's why she has that nightmare sequence, because that's when her feelings of grief and remorse and guilt start to like catch up to her for everything that's happened during the course of the events of the game. And yeah, to me it's just a really emotional song, and it really fits the scene that it's in, and that's how I interpret it personally. But obviously, since there's only 2 lines, is what I think, but it's a really short, sweet song that goes really well with the scene, and it's really emotional. So I am now on to the last 2 songs, which are the songs that play in each of the different endings, Bay or Bay. So I decided to section both of them off so they can have their own time to shine in the spotlight. So this is gonna be like, yeah. Starting off with the Bay ending, B-A-Y ending, which is Spanish Sahara by Foles. It's a really heartbreaking song, which goes with an appropriately heartbreaking ending. It plays if we choose Bay, and we plays while we as Max witness Chloe die after being shot by Nathan. We actively choose not to rewind so that she dies, because Chloe says that maybe I was meant to die, and if you choose this decision, then you kind of believe Chloe and just let her die the way that she did, subsequently getting Nathan arrested and presumably having his ties with Jefferson in the dark room discovered by the police. The ending shows Chloe's funeral as well, being attended by her family, Frank, Max, and certain students of Blackwell. The song itself talks about trying to move on from something deeply traumatic, or forgetting the horror here, which in the context of the song means the aftermath of the battles in the Spanish Sahara. But the same sentiment can be applied to what happened in Arcadia Bay. The horror being everything that Max and Chloe went through together during the span of the game, the death, the destruction, and all of the traumatic events that add up together in their heads. The line, "Its future dust and its future rust pertain to the future," obviously, telling us that it will eventually pass or become rust or become dust, which is like the passage of time, and we'll be able to move on eventually. I personally see the song as Chloe's last message to Max, telling her that everything will be okay as long as she leaves everything behind. It's comforting in a way, but also eerie and sad. It's basically saying that for Max to fully move on, she also has to leave Chloe too, which is fitting to what she says when she asks Max to use the butterfly photo to go back and let her die in the bathroom. To me, the line, I'm the ghost in the back of your head and I'm the fury in your head, it could be Chloe talking to Max. Chloe being the ghost in the back of Max's head could be comforting in that it is her best friend's spirit, but at the same time, her ghost also means that she has to remember her death and the part that she played in it. It's basically her own trauma following her in her head. And while the song does talk about, let's forget the horror, let's just try to move on. I know you've been through a lot, but let's just try to move past that. Forget the horror here. It seems encouraging, but then realistically, the tone of the song is still very sad because it acknowledges that the horror is there. It's not just like ignoring it. You know what I mean? Like, it plays into that feeling of just kind of sitting there and the aftermath of everything, which is exactly what Max goes through. Like, she's all alone now and she's just sitting there in the aftermath of everything that happened that technically didn't happen, since she rewrites the timeline again. She has to move on from everything that happened because it didn't actually happen, which kind of leaves her in this state of just loneliness, because she's never able to tell anybody what happened because it sounds really bizarre, and she's just like stuck trying to forget the horror here. And the final song for this analysis, and definitely one of the most iconic and memorable, and one that is heavily associated with this game, is of course Obstacles by Sid Matters. So this song plays during the ending of the first episode when the snow starts to fall from the sky, and also plays during the BAE ending, or when you choose to sacrifice Arcadia Bay and Chloe stays alive. So the song itself is really reflective in nature. The lyrics have this sense of looking back and also looking forward to it. In other words, it's all about how growing up means that we will go through things no matter what happens. It's kind of like it's a given. Essentially, growing up means that you'll have to go through certain obstacles. The song has this theme of time, and which very much fits the game, because the game is all about going back in time, going forward in time, being stuck in this loop of time. Going back in time is seen through the lyrics. We played hide and seek in waterfalls. We were younger. So this line especially encapsulates the innocence of Max and Chloe. To apply the same sentiment of the song to Max and Chloe, that line that I just mentioned earlier kind of captures the innocence that they both had. They like playing hide and seek in waterfalls is a very like childlike, innocent thing to do, and the part that says we were younger really emphasizes that. It's literally just saying we were younger, but it says it in a way that with the tone of the song sounds like we were reflecting, like we were so much younger when we did that. I can't believe that we're now older than when we used to do that together. It's basically like it really cements the bond that Max and Chloe have together ever since they were kids. I mean, they are childhood best friends. The fact that they started from childhood and now that they're growing older together and they're foreseeing these obstacles together really show how important Chloe is to Max, and why this ending is so... There's a bit of melancholy there, because we can see like when her and Chloe are about to drive away, Max is very clearly upset over the aftermath of what happened after the tornado, which is understandable. But as soon as Chloe tries to comfort her, she immediately like smiles, and they drive away to Seattle to live a happy life together. We assume. God knows what happens to them because of the reunion game coming out. But anyway, my point is, it's just a very reflective song, which I kept saying, but it's literally all about looking back and understanding and accepting the reality of just growing up means that we will have to foresee obstacles. We will have to go through these things together. And in the sense of Max and Chloe's ending, it basically means that it's basically the end of beginning for them. Like, it's the end of their chapter in Arcadia Bay, but it's a new beginning where they will also foresee obstacles together, if that makes any sense. But also, when the song first plays in the game, aka when it plays during the ending scene of episode 1, it can also be a warning for Max in a way, since the snowstorm was kind of not snowstorm, but since the snow falling was a product of Max using her powers, and we see how her usage of her power degrades the environment more and more, like the beached whales, the eclipse, the unscheduled eclipse, the 2 moons. I actually don't know if the eclipse is scheduled, because Warren does say that, oh, I didn't know there was an eclipse, but then he like tries to act smooth with it. I don't know, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll just count that as one of the anomalies that happened because Max used her powers, you know. But the thing with that is basically the song's way of saying, yeah, you know, you're in for it, girl. Since you used your powers, you're gonna have to go through so much during the course of this week, which does happen. So I said it's kind of like a warning to Max, basically saying that you have so much ahead of you because you've used your powers, and depending on when you use them or not, you will hear like the fact that it can be, let's say you choose to do BAE, and you also have that ending. The same songs play. It basically kind of signals a loop. That's not how you do a loop with your hands. A loop between the 2 songs, because you will be foreseeing obstacles. Whereas if you kind of compare that to Spanish Sahara, when the BAY ending, it's more about just leaving everything and just forgetting everything. There's different themes there. There's very different themes there. It's like one of them is like, you're gonna have to take everything and move it forward with you. But with with Spanish Sahara, it's like forget everything. Like you need to forget everything so you can feel better. And that's kind of the two main messages. Well, not really the main messages, but it's one of the takeaways from each of the individual endings. And obviously, depending on which ending you want, it's different for each ending. But that's personally how I interpret it based off of the song that plays during those endings. So that concludes my analyses for all of the songs in the Life is Strange soundtrack. Let me know what you thought. Did you agree with how I interpreted it? Do you have your own interpretations? I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching, sticking with me during this long ass video. To be fair, my videos are pretty long. If you did, like I said earlier in the intro, if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. I am planning to do more analyses type videos once I get used to the format. This is my very first time attempting something like this, so forgive me if I have any like kind of little flippy floppy mistakes. I'm trying to do my best with what I know about these kinds of videos. But overall, it was very fun to really overanalyze these things and talk about the game in the lens of the soundtrack. It was really, really fun to do it, and I do have a lot of Life is Strange related stuff planned with the reunion game coming out, the show coming out too. I'll also do something pertaining to those. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching again. Salutations, everybody. I will see you the next time I stream or upload a video. Bye.